Days of Our Lives, spoilers for the week of July 28th to August 1st, reveal that Sarah Horton Kyriakis and Brady Black will sizzle while Sophia Choi faces a miserable setback. EJ Dimera will also play dirty. So here's what Duel fans can expect. For starters, Xander Kyriakis should move forward with signing up for anger management counseling, since Sarah's been pushing him into it. Now that Sarah and Xander have decided to legally separate, she's more open to sharing custody of Victoria Kyriakis, but only if this anger management therapy happens. Of course, Day's spoilers suggest Marina Evans' mysterious medical drama could throw off her appointment schedule a bit. At some point, Marlena will be hospitalized and dream of when she was Stefano Dimera's Queen of the Night. So that'll play a big role in her storyline in the coming weeks. Now that Gabby Hernandez is willing to help Tony Dimera score dirt and bring the Kyriakis brothers down, Day's spoilers say she'll plot some seduction steps. At the bistro, Gabby will plant a kiss on Xander, who'll have to watch Sarah kiss Brady when she walks in and retaliates. Sarah will sizzle with Brady to make Xander jealous, so there'll be more tension that breaks out. Xander and Brady's showdown will get fierce and physical, so Sarah may be more convinced than ever that Xander truly needs help with his temper tantrums. Back with Gabby, Day's spoilers say she'll get to work manipulating Philip Kyriakis next. However, things are going to get messy for Gabby, especially if real feelings develop for Philip over time. While Johnny Dimera's trial comes with the twists, turns, and testimonies, he'll just have to trust that EJ will keep his promise to clear him. EJ will be willing to play dirty as he goes up against Belle Black in court. As for Sophia, she'll deal with more nervousness over her fake adoption scheme. Sophia could easily panic if Tate Black finds himself drawn to Tesoro like Amy Choi was recently. Regardless, Tate will lean on Holly Jonas as he continues to struggle with the adoption and never meeting the baby. That'll bring Holly and Tate even closer, much to Sophia's dismay since she'd rather have a fresh start with Tate for herself. Days of Our Lives. Spoilers for Thursday, July 24th, reveal that EJ Dimera will have a hypnosis session while Gwen von Leuschner has an encounter with Brady Black and Rachel Black. Marlena Evans will also pass out in the courtroom, so let's talk about what's ahead on Duel. With some encouragement from Belle Black, EJ will sit down with Marlena at the townhouse and allow her to hypnotize him. Since EJ is hoping to remember who pulled the trigger on him, he's willing to try anything. Day's spoilers say Marlena will take EJ back to the night he got shot, so he'll struggle to pull those memories back up. EJ may get some crucial clues about what really happened, but he won't get the total recall he was hoping for. With that in mind, Johnny Dimera's trial will move forward. Although Paulina Price will give Johnny some support along with Abe Carver, she'll fret over this whole situation and how it could affect Chanel Dupree Dimera's marriage. Once court is in session, Marlena will experience a strange medical crisis. Day's spoilers say Marlena will pass out in Abe's arms, so Belle will fret over whatever health drama her mom might be facing. Although Marlena's recent blood work came back normal, Belle might insist that Marlena needs more tests since she'll really be worried about her mom. Other Day's spoilers say Brady and Belle will try to reassure a worried Rachel about the trial ahead. Rachel will be nervous about testifying and potentially sending Johnny to prison, but Belle and Brady will try to calm her down. Later, Gwen will officially move her stuff in the Dimera mansion, where she'll cross paths with Brady and Rachel. That'll give Gwen a chance to try to befriend Rachel and perhaps deal with some Brady tension in the process. At some point, Gwen's set to make a stunning discovery. Will that tie in with EJ's shooting storyline? Or perhaps missing Stefan Dimera, since Gwen will taunt Gabby Hernandez over him soon? Days of Our Lives spoilers reveal that Xander Kyriakis seems poised to have a major psychiatrist breakthrough, so anger management therapy may bring a shocking outcome. Will Xander emerge from this experience a truly changed man? In Days' July 22nd episode, Kayla Johnson asked Sarah Horton Kyriakis if Xander had ever seen a psychiatrist. Sarah acted like Kayla must be kidding, since Xander isn't someone who likes to talk about his feelings. However, Kayla pointed out that if Sarah and Xander ever want to co-parent successfully, then Xander needs to get his rage in check. Sarah knows Xander would never physically harm Victoria Kyriakis, but he's still a threat to plenty of other people. Days spoilers say that's only going to hurt Victoria in the long run. Victoria needs a stable dad she can count on, not a fierce father who could snap at any moment and injure anyone who gets on his bad side. It's clear that Xander could use some help to get his temper under control, so that's where Marlena Evans comes in. Kayla mentioned that Marlena offers intense anger management counseling and figured it was worth a try. If anybody can tackle this tough case and make a difference, it's Marlena. Duel fans know Marlena tends to make impressive progress with her patients and almost always puts them on a better path. Day's spoilers say Xander will indeed undergo some anger management therapy with Marlena in the coming weeks. If Xander goes through with these sessions and gets Marlena's approval, maybe Sarah will split 50-50 custody without a fight. Of course, this could bring a real opportunity for Xander to turn his life around. Xander might have a breakthrough or two while in counseling and realize where all this anger stems from. There's no doubt that Xander has struggled with abandonment and rejection issues throughout his lifetime. Perhaps Marlena can help Xander resolve some past trauma and work toward healing. Although Xander has tried to change in the past, he was mostly just masking the problem and bearing that anger. What Xander really needs is a way to let it all go and stop allowing his fury to dictate so much of his life. Well, Sophia's back in Salem on Days of Our Lives, and her and Melinda's plan seems to have gone off without a hitch. Yes, Tate is torn and working through a barrage of emotions in learning he'll never meet his and Sophia's baby, but he's made clear every chance he's gotten to back out that this adoption is what he wants. And while Sophia may feel torn too, after the lengths she went to, she is very much content with giving the baby up. This isn't Nicole's baby being stolen while she mourns his death. Fans aren't clamoring for a resolution to end the pain or reunite a lost child with a parent. And that means that Days of Our Lives has an amazing chance right now to just let this go. They shouldn't just drop it, of course, but they could easily let it remain a secret that we all know is percolating for years. Let Javi and Leo adopt Tesoro. Let him grow up and keep the secret under the radar. Soaps used to let stories play out over years, whether it was an extreme like Nina's baby being stolen on The Young and the Restless and vanishing for decades, or something more abbreviated like Will's paternity. Sammy pretended Austin was the father for a good while, through a baby kidnapping, a car accident, faked amnesia. It took time for the truth to come out about Lucas, and it blew things up. This can be it for their story. Maybe they'd run into Tesoro from time to time, but the show doesn't have to hit us over the head with constant teases of, "Ooh, maybe they'll figure it out." It can just be running into him as Leo and Javi's kid, with audience knowing the underlying tension is always there. Letting it go would let the baby be raised in a loving family. Let Tate and Sophia move on with other story, and, after years, it would devastate everyone all the more when the truth did come out. Xander's playing with Victoria and some blocks at his desk when Sarah shows up and happily watches them. Xander sees her and has Victoria wave hello. Sarah reassures him she just needed to see Victoria, not take her. Xander understands and hands her over. They put her down in the crib, and Xander tells Sarah Victoria misses her. They get close to going at each other again, but pull back, agreeing to talk about what's next. Xander doesn't want to hurt their daughter. They need to face custody head-on. Sarah's willing to figure this out, but they need to talk about his anger. "This again?" Xander growls. Sarah knows he'd never hurt Victoria, but leaving her with a man who can snap at any moment scares her. That's the only thing that's holding her back. He promises not to lay a finger on Philip, but she reminds him of everyone else he's hurt. If she doesn't trust him, they're stuck, he says. Maybe not. She suggests anger management counseling with Marlena. If he did, would she agree to joint custody? Yes, if he follows through and puts in an honest effort. Okay, Xander says after a pause. He'll schedule an appointment with Dr. Evans, but he'd like a formal agreement, and the only way for that is to legally separate. At home, Gabby tells Ari how happy she is that her daughter's home and safe, but she won't say "I told you so" when Ari laments how sorry she is for getting mixed up with Doug. All Gabby wants to say is, "I love you." Ari then tells her mom she needs to go tell Doug off. Gabby wants to go too, but Ari says she needs to do it alone. I will give the jerk hell for the both of us, I promise. Gabby just asks her to promise she'll be safe. She will, and after tonight, she's not going near Doug again. Holly shows up at the pub, arms crossed, even when Doug runs over and hugs her. This was his fault. He never told them the thugs were after him again. Plus, he kept her and Ari from each other. Doug says he liked Ari, but was only with her because he couldn't be with Holly. Holly admits she thought something might happen with him once, but that's done. Doug apologizes again, but Holly tells him to apologize to Ari. He will before he leaves. Wait, you're leaving town? Yeah. He doesn't want anyone else in danger, and he doubts the loan sharks will go after them again once he's gone. So are you going to tell Julie? Nope, Holly can. But Holly suggests he could give Julie closure, which he figures just means yelling at him. That's when Ari shows up and slaps him across the face. I deserved that. Holly just watches, then says goodbye to Doug, wishing him luck. Ari realizes then that this means he's leaving Salem, and she has some things to say. I really did care about you. In the past tense, he, though, was using her and almost got her killed. Never contact me again. She'd get a lobotomy to forget him if she could. Then Ari leaves. Picking up from yesterday, Tate asks Sophia where the baby is. She's gone, Tate. She clarifies to Tate and Brady that the adoptive parents already took her. You gave our baby away without asking me? Tate loses it and starts yelling until Brady calms him down and asks Sophia to explain. Sophia claims she and the parents being together when she went into labor was a sign that it was meant to be. She brought the paperwork with her for him to sign, but Tate refuses. Sophia tells him he has to, but Brady says Tate clearly has concerns about what happened. And so do I. Tate yells at her for doing this without him, and Sophia says he was at the lake, and she tried calling, but he didn't answer. Then he snaps that he was busy saving Holly's life and explains what happened, and Sophia tells him giving birth in a strange city with strangers was so scary for her. Tate apologizes, walks through what happened, and says nothing's done yet. Just give him the adoptive parents' address, and he'll go there and meet his daughter, then sign everything. Sophia says he can't. She promised the parents they'd have time to bond, and it's an open adoption, but they could still back out. She takes out her phone and shows him a photo of a couple holding a baby, saying they sent it as soon as they got home. They've struggled so much with this adoption. Does Tate want to screw it up now? Brady asks her to tell them something about the parents to put their minds at ease. Sophia spins a tale about them being Christian doctors, volunteers active in the church. She knows it didn't happen how they expected, but the end is better than what they could have hoped. They can move on now, once he signs the papers. Tate takes a breath. Fine. You found a good home for our baby, so that's all that matters. He signs. Sophia thanks them and leaves, promising she's fine and the labor was easy. Tate asks her to send the baby photo and any others they send before she goes. Brady asks how Tate's doing, and he says he feels like something was taken from him. But no second thoughts about the adoption. He's just sad and needs a little space. You got it? I'm here if you need me. Tate asks Brady to tell Teresa for him. He will. Alone, Tate gets a call from Holly, who thanks him again for saving her. She tries flirting, but he's not up to seeing her, opening up about Sophia and the baby. He just needs time to process. Gabby meets with Tony at the DiMera mansion. He appreciates her coming after what happened with Ari. She was intrigued by his business proposition. Tony gets down to it. Rita told him Gabby's a disgruntled employee. He wants his company back and needs information. Gabby can dig up dirt on Xander and Philip, and... No, Gabby says, sorry. Tony's shocked. He offers her the rights to Gabby Chic. Only if I agree to play dirty, she counters. A few days ago, maybe. But Xander's been kind to her with Ari, and she doesn't want to stab him in the back. Tony doesn't get it. She's never been loyal to anyone in the past, and he's admired that. Gabby starts walking out, and he offers a new deal. She gets to run all of DiMera Enterprises. Why? Gabby would think he'd try to bring another DiMera back from the dead before looking outside the family. Once a DiMera, always a DiMera, he says. But there is a caveat. He'd like to retain input, working behind the curtains. Gabby's fine with that. Sophia calls Melinda and tells her she's stuck to the plan. Tate signed the papers, upset or not. He'd totally hate me if I ever found out the truth, that I abandoned our baby. Ari's back home, holding to sorrow, and admits that she really did like Doug, and a part of her will miss him. Doug, meanwhile, strolls through the square with a backpack. Sarah's taken aback, but Xander explains that they can't get a court enforcement unless they do. And separating seems inevitable, right? Yeah, Sarah says shakily. He's right. He'll have Melinda draw up a separation agreement and terms of joint custody. She'll have Justin look at it. They're both a bit touched and surprised to finally agree on something again. For Victoria. Days of Our Lives spoilers are in for Thursday, July 24th, 2025. Fans can expect Johnny DiMera's trial to begin. E.J. DiMera seeks therapy from Marina Evans. Meanwhile, Gwen Rischek von Leuschner makes a shocking discovery. Keep reading, and let's talk about what is coming up in the next episode of the Peacock soap opera. Let's start off with Johnny, who is facing attempted murder charges. The young man insists he didn't shoot his father. Without another suspect, Johnny will have to face court. Johnny does have EJ as his lawyer, who just happens to also be the victim. Meanwhile, Belle Black has to do her best to remain impartial. Fans know that Xander Cook Kyriakis agreed to talk to Marlena about anger management. However, that won't be the only character going to the psychiatrist for help this week. EJ stops by to see Marlena to have a counseling session. According to the weekly preview clip, it seems to be more of a hypnosis session, though. Will EJ be able to remember who really shot him? It might be the only way to clear Johnny's name. Days of Our Lives. Spoilers for Thursday, July 24th reveal that Paulina Price will be full of worry. As Paulina worries about Johnny and Chanel Dupree DiMera, she will get some much-needed support from Abe Carver. Across town, there's a situation with Sophia Choi and Tate Black. Sophia spun an adoption story, but there might be something in Tate's heart that compels him to fight this and try to see his baby, at least one time. Fans know that baby is actually in Salem, so if Tate pushes the envelope, Sophia may get even more nervous about this lie than she already is. Days viewers will also see Gwen make some kind of shocking discovery. Gwen is still hung up on Xander and was hoping for another chance. Just when Gwen got close to passion, Xander backed out at the last minute. Maybe Gwen sees Zara talking and gets the wrong idea? Another possibility is that Gwen might hear from Dmitri von Leuschner. Gwen claims that she's still legally married to Dmitri and gets to spend all of his money. However, it doesn't make much sense, and neither did the Dear John letter to Leo Stark. Could the only reason Gwen has all that money be because of some kind of scheme? If so, then she could lose it just as quickly as she got it. Which storyline are you looking forward to seeing the most on Thursday, July 24th, 2025? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. Remember to keep watching the soap on Peacock to find out what happens next. Days of Our Lives, spoilers and updates tease Marlena Evans appears to have a major medical issue. Are they killing her off so soon after the death of John Black? Deidre Hall became part of Days of Our Lives in 1976. Throughout her time on the show, she has portrayed Dr. Marlena Evans as she navigated multiple marriages and some of the program's most iconic plots, which featured 2 instances of demonic possession. However, fans are anxious that the actress might be departing after almost 5 decades. A recent teaser for the week of July 21st depicts Marlena fainting in Abe's embrace. Could it be that the show is planning to write off Marlena just 2 months following John Black's devastating death? Fans were stunned and saddened when Drake Hogestyn died in September 2024. After a private fight with cancer, his co-stars were aware of his illness, but the fans were not. The cherished actor joined the show in 1986 in a mysterious role as the Pawn, who believed he was Roman Brady, and later became John Black. He was diagnosed with cancer in late 2023 and realized it was unlikely he would come back to the soap. With the consent of him and his family, the show created an exit storyline that would permanently end John Black's character. This storyline unfolded over 3 months, culminating in a touching funeral attended by John Black's closest family and friends. Drake Hogestyn passed away around the time the scenes were filmed, making the performances feel all too real for the cast. And the story isn't finished yet. Alison Sweeney, who portrayed John's stepdaughter, Sarah&Brady, is set to return this summer to pay her respects. Will she also be grieving for her mother, Marina, by the time she returns? A summer preview was recently released that shows some disturbing scenes. Is everything that has happened with Marlena's being widowed, plus her family's troubles, too much? Marlena's grandson, Johnny DiMera, is currently on trial in Salem for allegedly shooting his father, E.J. DiMera. Johnny had just discovered that he was conceived through rape before E.J. was shot by an unknown attacker. E.J. does not think his son is the shooter, but who could it be? He turned to Marlena for help, using hypnosis to try to recall the identity of his real assailant. After a tense hypnosis session with E.J., Marlena faints in Abe Carver's arms this week. Marlena has faced a lot this year, especially with the loss of her true love. She has not been herself lately, often reacting harshly to others due to her sorrow. The pressure has overwhelmed her, leading to her collapse. Is the show hinting at her possible death? A summer preview released earlier this month has shown Marlena's situation for the remainder of the summer, lying in a hospital bed. She seems to be dreaming about her longtime enemy, Stefano DiMera, who has tormented her for years due to his obsession with her. Scenes from the Queen of the Night storyline flash across the screen. This storyline aired in the early 1990s when Stefano attempted to hypnotize Marlena into loving him. Instead, it left her vulnerable to possession by the devil, starting one of the show's most iconic story arcs. Many fans believe that Marlena is haunted by memories of Stefano this summer. However, the new storyline is not expected to lead to Marlena's death. She is one of the show's most beloved characters, and Deidre Hall has not suggested any plans to leave. Days of Our Lives spoilers and updates reveal that Grandma Amy Choi might conduct a covert DNA test at some point. Will the connection that Amy feels with baby Tesoro spark a quest for evidence? Sophia Choi is aware that Javi Hernandez and Leo Stark have been caring for the baby she placed in the safe haven box at the fire station. Although it was a difficult decision to give up her son, Sophia finds solace in knowing he is being loved and looked after. However, Days spoilers indicate that Sophia might face a challenge now that Amy has encountered Tesoro and feels a bond with him. In the July 17th episode of Duel, Amy spotted Tesoro in his stroller at the courthouse, where she also ran into Leo, as they were both there for jury selection. This encounter allowed Amy to express her admiration for the baby, and she even returned to bid him farewell after her dismissal. She looked at him as if though he seemed familiar. It's clear that Amy has a strong attraction to Tesoro, suggesting that Days might be developing this storyline further. We can expect more interactions like this in the weeks ahead. Once Sophia wraps up her fabricated adoption tale, Amy could feel an even deeper bond with Tesoro as she seeks to fill a grand motherly gap in her life. It's easy to picture Days crafting a scenario or two where Amy finds herself babysitting Tesoro, perhaps at the last minute, saving a situation. Perhaps Leo will face an emergency, prompting Amy to step in and care for Tesoro for a while. It's possible Amy's attraction stems from being reminded of Sophia at that age. In any case, Sophia is likely to witness the lovely connection between Amy and Tesoro unfold right before her eyes, and that might make her nervous. At some point, Sophia is likely to see some baby bonding firsthand and may become alarmed by how close Amy is getting to her grandson. Amy seems to have an intuitive connection with Tesoro, which might allow her to play detective and uncover more than Sophia expected. Perhaps Amy could even conduct a covert DNA test if she suspects that this is truly her grandchild. If that occurs, Amy could either obtain the evidence she seeks or face setbacks if Sophia manages to manipulate the results. In any case, Days of Our Lives spoilers indicate that the bonding moments between Amy and Tesoro could lead to complications, so stay tuned for updates on any concerning developments for Sophia. Be sure to catch up on everything happening with Duel right now. Come back here often for Days of Our Lives spoilers, news, and updates. Someone gets an intriguing offer, while another is in the hot seat, and two characters make a shocking discovery. What's set to go down on Wednesday? Time to find out. Days of Our Lives spoilers for Wednesday, July 23rd, imply that Tony DiMera will present an intriguing offer to Gabby Hernandez. Added teasers seem to hint that this could be about bringing DiMera Enterprises back to the DiMera family. While Gabby isn't a DiMera anymore, she once was and prefers Gabby Chic to be under this corporation rather than Titan. Could Tony encourage Gabby to seduce one or both of the Kyriakis brothers? Speaking of, Xander Kyriakis will allow Sarah Horton Kyriakis to spend time with Victoria Kyriakis. Could this be a sign that the two co-parents are making progress? Read this, Days of Our Lives. Spoilers, Doug shares a bittersweet farewell with Julie. Across town, Doug Williams III will find himself in the hot seat when both Ariana Ari Horton and Holly Jonas confront him. The two young ladies were kidnapped by a thug who was threatening Doug, and while the young man should have come forward and told them about it, he remained quiet. Doug is heading out of Salem this week, so here's hoping that he won't leave on a sour note where Holly and Ari are concerned. Lastly, Days of Our Lives spoilers for Wednesday imply that Brady Black and Tate Black will be completely caught off guard when they find Sophia Choi. The young lady is spinning quite a tale about her baby's birth and adoption, so how will Tate react when she tells him their baby has been born and is already with her adopted parents? Of course, fans know this is a big lie, as Sophia had her baby and left him at the fire station, only for Leo Stark and Javi Hernandez to become temporary caretakers. With that said, both men are getting very attached to the newborn, so it'll be interesting to see what happens next. Are you pumped about Wednesday's show? Comment below. Deals were struck, contracts signed, and boys told off in the July 23rd episode of Days of Our Lives. Tony summoned Gabby to the DiMera mansion for a tete-a-tete about regaining control of DiMera Enterprises. Xander and Sarah attempted to work out a custody agreement without the conversation going nuclear. Ari and Holly got their chance to confront Doug before he leaves town. And a heartbroken and confused Tate listened to Sophia's too-perfect cover story. Tony seems to be the only DiMera with any interest in wrenching DiMera Enterprises away from the Kyriakis bros, so he enlisted Gabby's help to make that happen. Surprisingly, she was reluctant to do so and referred to how nice Xander was after the kidnapping. Gabby changed her mind about being Tony's mole inside Titan DiMera after he sweetened the pot. He offered her the CEO job when they got the company back. All she needed to do was feed Tony incriminating dirt on Xander and Philip. The CEO gig at DiMera was a job she held before, but it'll be interesting to see if she will be conflicted about playing dirty because things have thawed between her and Xander. This Gabby/Tony alliance may not last, but Gabby's an ambitious girl, so that CEO title may be the thing that helps convince her to turn on Titan. Sarah popped up at Xander's office and got the chance to spend some time with Victoria. On Wednesday, the two had a pretty civil conversation with a couple of flare-ups. But ultimately, the two agreed to joint custody, but they each had a condition. Sarah wanted Xander to work on his anger management skills and suggested he start seeing Marina. He decided to make an appointment with her. Meanwhile, his suggestion was based on the fact that they can't trust each other enough to have an informal custody agreement. So, he felt they needed to file for a legal separation so they could have their lawyers draw up a formal custody agreement. They both felt the weight of the suggestion, but ultimately, Sarah agreed. Xander and Sarah are one step closer to divorce. Will they be able to follow through on this tentative custody arrangement without either one doing something to cause chaos? Sophia revealed what happened in Chicago. She told Tate and Brady that she went into labor in Chicago while she was with the adoptive parents, and she allowed them to take the girl she gave birth to home. She didn't even hold her. Tate was emotional and heartbroken. He wanted to meet his kid. He wanted to hold her once. And he wanted to be included in this decision, considering he and Sophia have been a team up until now. He was just stunned and devastated. Sophia even showed Tate and Brady a photo of the parents with their little girl. At first, Tate understandably didn't want to sign the contract that Sophia suddenly whipped out from her purse, but ultimately he gave in and signed it. Tate is a pretty stubborn guy. It may be difficult for him to accept that things went down the way they did. We'll see how long it takes for him to do something about it. Little does he know that his son is living at Rafe's home and that Sophia abandoned him at the firehouse. If he accidentally runs into Leo or Javi with the baby, will he feel a connection? How long before somebody starts poking holes in Sophia's cover story? What does her mom have to say about all of this? Days of Our Lives spoilers for Thursday, July 24th. Kick off Johnny's trial with his aunt as the prosecutor and his dad as the defense attorney and the victim. Sure, this sounds legit. With Leo as a juror, EJ and Belle take their seats on opposite sides of the aisle, prepared to tussle over Johnny's fate. Chanel is worried. Paulina is worried. This means Abe has to be worried too. EJ is also worried, so worried that he turns to Marina. Now, we're not saying that EJ couldn't use therapy. Everyone in Salem could use lots of therapy, and the DeMera clan should be at the head of the line. But EJ is worried about the fact that he's defending his son on charges of EJ's attempted murder. Is Johnny's grandmother really the person for him to turn to with this dilemma? And this is on top of the fact that EJ is sleeping with Marlena's other daughter, a fact that makes Marlena less than pleased. This is too much family togetherness. And it won't do anybody any good. Gwen is back in Salem, and while she has legitimate beef with several citizens, Leo, first and foremost, it is interesting why she thinks she has the right, nay the obligation, to burn the entire town to the ground. She's the one who screwed over Sarah and Xander, not the other way around. And her grudge towards Julie is just petty. Was Julie supposed to embrace Jack's illegitimate daughter? Especially when Gwen was so awful to Abigail? Now Gwen doesn't want to return Julie's necklace. But will that tune change once Gwen receives a massive shock? Days of Our Lives spoilers photos for the July 24th, 2025 episode tease the start of a long journey for Johnny. It's the day of Johnny's court hearing, and Salem is rallying around the innocent young man. Paulina and Abe run into Belle on their way to Johnny's court hearing. Everyone meets at Marlena's to offer their support to Johnny. Brady is faced with the tough task of explaining to Rachel what may happen to Johnny. Later, Brady and Rachel catch Gwen moving into the mansion. What makes Peter Raquel's recent return to Days of Our Lives different is that his character, Beau, was no longer in a coma or believed to be dead. He was alive and well and traveling the world with his wife, Hope. Before Beau fully returned to the land of the living, he met his late son, Zach, who told him to return when his time had finally come. Raquel opened up about what he thought of the young actors Beau got to connect with. Raquel, who's been open about wanting to return full-time to the show, spoke with Soap Opera Digest, which noted that when Beau and Ciara finally reconnected, he got to share scenes for the first time with Victoria Konefal. He also got to act opposite Days newcomer, Brandon Butler, who played Zach. Raquel remarked, "The casting people are bringing these awesome actors in." Butler was amazing. He praised Butler's acting skills and hoped that the show would either find more reasons for Zach to appear or have the actor play a new character. He explained that often, up-and-coming younger stars need to adapt to the grueling soap opera pace. But there was none of that with him, he stated. After Beau emerged from his coma, he was introduced to several younger characters and remarked that he enjoys kids and acting is basically playing pretend. So to play pretend with kids is just perfect. But he had a tough time wrapping his brain around the fact that he was now playing a grandfather when he met young Beau Weston. "He was a great kid," Raquel commented about Samard, and added, "He was so on and a feisty little guy." The actor likes working with children because of their unpredictable nature. He felt it was good to always be surprised by what a kid actor brought to the table. Also, helping them focus helps me focus, he stated. Here are your Days of Our Lives spoilers for Thursday, July 24th, 2025. Johnny's trial is about to begin, with both the defense and prosecuting attorneys sure that Johnny is not the one who shot EJ that fateful night. However, the victim, father of the defendant, and defense attorney EJ are determined to remember who really did pull the trigger. To that end, he takes Belle's suggestion and asks Marlena to put EJ under hypnosis. Marlena is no fan of EJ and never has been after the way he treated Sammy. However, if EJ can remember the truth and help Johnny stay out of jail, she's willing to do it. EJ becomes agitated and disturbed while he is under, so Marlena feels the need to bring him out of hypnosis to calm his nervous system. Before that happens, does EJ remember any detail that could help his case? Court is about to start at any moment, and EJ is not sure that he has the right defense planned. At the courthouse, everyone gathers to support Johnny, including Paulina, who tells Abe she is worried that her son-in-law is about to go down. Gwen is making herself right at home in the Dimera mansion once again, a place she has lived several times before. She even runs into Brady when he brings Rachel home to be with Kristen. Brady is not at all happy to see Gwen and keeps giving her the side-eye, but Rachel appears to quiz her mom's friend about where she's been. Will they create mischief together? Before Gwen can even think about that, she makes a shocking discovery. Does she find evidence that can link anyone but Johnny to EJ's shooting? She might not have been in town that night, but Gwen's snooping skills could find the answers that EJ has been looking for. If we know anything about Gwen, he never gives anything away without a price. Will she find herself bribing EJ by the end of the day? On Days of Our Lives today, Wednesday, July 23, 2025, Sophia spins a web of lies. Doug bears the wrath of two angry women. Gabby and Tony strike a deal, and Xander and Sarah reach a truce. At Titan Dimera, Sarah came upon Xander and Victoria playing with building blocks. As she smiled at the scene, Xander spotted her and urged Victoria to greet her mother. Sarah reluctantly approached and pledged to Xander she wasn't there to fight about Victoria. She had just wanted to see her daughter. Xander said he understood and handed over Victoria. Later, Xander settled Victoria in her crib and explained that she'd been napping earlier since being with him. Sarah was glad she had at least gotten to see her daughter, and Xander remarked that he was kept from the girl so he could relate. Although tensions threatened to flare, Xander calmed and said his struggles getting reacquainted with his daughter had made him realize he didn't desire a war with Sarah. By fighting, they were hurting their daughter the most. Xander wanted an amicable custody agreement. Sarah believed the only thing standing in the way of a compromise was Xander's anger. While she knew Xander would never hurt Victoria, she worried about their daughter being around him when he could fly into a rage at any moment. Xander made a promise that he wouldn't lay a hand on Philip, but Sarah reminded him of his pattern of violent attacks, namely with Brady and with Eric. Xander didn't argue the point, but he declared them at a standstill if Sarah couldn't trust him. Sarah had an idea, but she warned Xander wouldn't like it. Sarah cautiously suggested anger management counseling. Xander didn't react well at first and accused Sarah of teaming up with Philip to make him look weak at the company. Sarah clarified that she didn't mean Xander should take the company's anger management courses. He should see Marina instead. Xander asked if Sarah would agree to joint custody if he underwent therapy with Marina. As long as Xander made a sincere effort, Sarah vowed, they could work out a custody arrangement. Xander agreed to the terms, on one condition. Sarah and he needed a formal arrangement, since the trust in their marriage had been irrevocably broken. He suggested a legal separation. Tearing up, Sarah concurred with his assessment that their separation was inevitable. Xander would get Melinda to draw up the papers and include a custody arrangement. For Victoria, Sarah and Xander sadly affirmed. At Rafe's house, Ariana, relieved to be home, greeted Gabby and the baby. She apologized to Gabby for getting involved with loser Doug and lying to her mom about it. Gabby refused Ari's invitation for an "I told you so" and hugged her daughter instead. Later, when Ariana returned from putting the baby to sleep, she asked Gabby if they could forego dinner because she had something she needed to do first. Gabby correctly surmised that her daughter wanted to give Doug a piece of her mind, as it's what Gabby would do in her place. Gabby agreed, on the condition that she come with Ari. Gabby also wanted to unload on the SOB. Ari implored her mom to let her handle it, and she promised she was more than capable of giving that jerk hell for both of them. Gabby eventually acquiesced, but let Ari know that she had eyes and ears, aka Grandpa Roman, in the pub, aka Grandpa. Ari reassured Gabby she wanted nothing more to do with Doug. Later, Gabby went to the Dimera mansion for a meeting with Tony. After chatting briefly about Ari, Gabby urged Tony to get to the point of his summons. Tony revealed that his associate Rita had kept him updated about the happenings at Titan Dimera, and Rita had identified Gabby as a disgruntled employee. Gabby conceded the point, so Tony proposed that Gabby work with him to wrest DiMera back from Kyriakis' control. When Tony asked her to get dirt on Xander and Philip, however, Gabby declined. Tony was taken aback and reminded Gabby that Xander and Philip were micromanaging the company she had created. Gabby acknowledged her prior issues, but she'd had a change of heart about Xander after he'd shown her kindness and compassion during Ariana's kidnapping. Tony mourned the seeming demise of Gabby's survival instincts, but Gabby assured him those instincts were still very much intact. She just wasn't willing to be Tony's mole for hire. Before Gabby could leave, Tony made a follow-up offer to sweeten the pot. Gabby would be installed as the new CEO of DiMera Enterprises. Gabby was intrigued by the proposal, but pondered why Tony wouldn't want the position to go to himself or another DiMera, even a resurrected DiMera. Once a DiMera, always a DiMera, Tony replied, referencing Gabby's marriage to Stefan. He argued the family was bound not so much by blood, but by loyalty, which prompted a brief bit of banter between himself and Gabby about the DiMeras' checkered past with loyalty. Tony indicated to Gabby that he'd put the past behind him and that he was content with his life. He did have one small request. Should Gabby accept his offer, he wanted to stay on as a behind-the-scenes advisor. Gabby agreed to the terms, and Tony and she shook on it. At the Brady pub, Doug rushed to embrace Holly and said he would have talked to her sooner. He thought she might not want to see him. Holly pulled back from the hug with a scowl and replied, "Because my kidnapping was your fault?" She blasted Doug for not being more forthcoming about the loan shark's new threats, and also confronted him for his duplicity with both her and Ari. Doug took responsibility for it all, and admitted that while he liked Ari, he had only been with her because he couldn't be with Holly. Doug called himself stupid for ever believing anything could happen between Holly and him, but Holly confessed she'd briefly entertained the possibility. Doug hadn't wanted to take advantage of Holly's breakup with Tate and had, in the process, screwed everything up. "So you screwed Ari instead?" Holly snapped. Doug was sorry, but Holly believed it was Ari who was owed the apology. Doug said he intended to talk to Ari before he left town, and his revelation took Holly by surprise. Doug and Holly settled at a table as Doug pitched his reasons for leaving. If he left town, he would take the danger with him, as he didn't think the loan sharks would risk going after the girls again, given Ari's uncle was an FBI agent. Holly acknowledged Doug's points and asked if he intended to say goodbye to Julie. Doug didn't think Julie would want to see him, but she did have the right to unload on him a final time. Ari arrived and immediately approached Doug and Holly's table. Doug stood up and offered her an apology. She responded by slapping him across the face. Doug said he deserved it, and Holly got up to leave so the two could have privacy. Before she departed, Holly and Doug wished each other well. After realizing Doug planned to leave town, Ari stated she needed to tell him how she really felt. Ari started by saying she had cared about Doug. When he tried to return the sentiment, she shut him down. Doug had used her and then endangered her life, and she never wanted him to contact her again. Ari wished she could give herself a lobotomy so she could forget him. "You're already forgettable," Ari concluded before storming off. Later, back at Rafe's house, Ari cradled the baby and confided that while she was angry at Doug, she had really liked him and would miss him. At Marlena's place, Tate worriedly asked Sophia if she meant the baby had died. Sophia apologized for her choice of words and assured Tate the baby, she, was fine. As Sophia came inside, Brady entered the room as well. Sophia told father and son that the adoptive parents had been with her when she had given birth. They had wanted to take the baby home immediately, and she had let them. Tate was flabbergasted and raged at Sophia for depriving him of the chance to meet the lawyer, the adoptive parents, and, most importantly, the baby. Sophia, caught off guard by the level of Tate's anger, tearfully apologized. She had felt it was fate when she had gone into labor with the baby's new parents by her side, and she hadn't wanted to put herself through having to say goodbye. Tate angrily countered that he had wanted to say goodbye. Brady intervened and reminded the teens that it wasn't over until paperwork had been signed. Sophia pulled papers from her bag and claimed the lawyer had looked them over. When she extended them to Tate, though, he refused to sign them. Brady again stepped in and tried to calm the situation. Sophia explained that she'd attempted to contact Tate, but he wasn't answering his phone. Tate briefly updated her on the situation with Holly and Ari. Sophia expressed sympathies for the ordeal, but stressed to Tate that she'd been through an ordeal as well, having given birth in a strange town, surrounded by strangers. Brady empathized with Sophia, and, once Tate calmed down, he did too. Tate raised the possibility that Sophia had made a snap decision under duress. He asked Sophia for the adoptive parents' addresses so that he could meet the baby and assess if the situation felt right to him. Sophia told Tate he couldn't see the baby because she'd promised the adoptive couple time to bond with the baby. Tate said he hadn't agreed to those terms, and in fact, both Sophia and he had settled on an open adoption. Sophia promised Tate the couple had agreed to send pictures and give regular updates about the baby. She brought up a photo on her phone and handed it to Tate as proof of the promise. In the photograph, a smiling man and woman cradled a newborn infant.